This is problem number 8. Gabe is a nuclear physicist and needs 60 liters of 40% solution. Currently has a 30% solution and a 60% solution. So how many liters of each does he need to make the 60 liters of 40% solution? So for this, it would be good to have a table. We have right now a 30% and a 60% solution. So we have a 30% solution and a 60% solution. And so we want to figure out the amount of 30% solution and the 60% solution. So the idea is that if you have a 60% solution, how many liters of the 30% solution, how many liters of the 60% solution do you need? And he wants to make a 60 liter. So if we want 60 liters in total. So all we really want to do is we want to add these two things to get a total of 60 liters. And so what we're essentially what we're constructing is an equation right now. One equation that combines the amount that you want to put in the 30 liter solution and the 60 liter solution. Now the next is to figure out the concentration. And the concentration that we want is going to be a 40% solution. So the concentration we'll get here is going to be a 30% solution. So 0.3 times x. And the concentration here is going to be 0.6 times y. And so when we add these two solutions, the concentration should be, we want the concentration to be a 40%. So 40% of what though? So remember that the 40% has to be the total of x plus y, which is going to be the number of liters in total, and that's going to be 60. So these mixture problems are always going to be set up the same way. We have an x and y for the different components, and then we want the total, and they're usually giving you the total. And then we set up the concentration equation, which is going to be 0.3x plus 0.6y is equal to 0.4 times 60. And then so now we have two equations and two unknowns that we're going to solve for to get the x and the y. Okay? So several ways to do this. At this point we can get rid of the decimals by multiplying by 10 or something like that, or we can just do a simple substitution. It doesn't really matter how you go about it at this point, but any way you do it should work out to be the same answers. So what I think I will do is I will multiply the bottom by 10, and so I'll rewrite my system of linear equations without the decimal points. So I have a 3x plus 6y, and then the 0.4 times 10 is 4 times 60, 4 times 6 is 24, and then tack on another 0. And it looks like, just for simplicity's sake, this is divisible. The bottom one I can divide by 3. So let me continue to rewrite this so that I'm trying to find the simplest set of equations before I dive into it. So I'm still working with the second equation. I'm going to divide everything by 3, And 24 divided by 3 is 8, and with another 0, let's just say I have 80. So now that's a little bit better to work with, and so I can do one of two things. I can solve for one of the variables and use the substitution method, or I can multiply the top one by negative and then do the subtraction. So that's what I'll do. So I'll multiply everything on top by a -1 and then proceed with the addition method. So if I add this, the x's will disappear. 2y minus y is just y, and 80 minus 60 is 20. So it looks like I'll need 20 liters of the 60% solution. And now I can just use any of these equations along the way and to find the x value. I think I will use this equation. I have x plus y, which I found to be 20, is equal to 60, and so that's just going to be 40. So the summary is that I will need 40 liters of the 30% solution, and then I will need, this is your x by the way, right? And that's the x is a 30% solution, and I'll need 20 liters of the 60% solution. That's your y. And then if you add them, you get 60 liters, and then the total solution is going to have a concentration of 40% acid. So that's it. Hope that helps.